So here we are live once again. Good evening, folks, or afternoon, morning, wherever you are in the world. Glad you're here today. Good evening, folks. Welcome to Friday Night Tech Talk. If you haven't been here before, I do this every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, and have some regulars that join in every week. Renz was the first one in here, and I guess he's at his youngest school today, so he's going to be late. I guess he's going to go to work and join us like he usually does. And he was followed very closely by Eleanor. They got in the same minute. I know Eleanor has to work tomorrow, so she's not going to stay up late. So glad you two are here. Hopefully others will be joining soon. And the way we do this, I put all the stories on my webpage, and I share that in the show notes in the YouTube description. So I'll do what I always do and show you how to get there. First, let me get rid of some of the stuff on the screen. Okay, so let's share my screen. So if you go to mobilegeezer.wordpress.com, click on the very first story, which has today's date, and you'll see the notes for tonight's show. So let's stop sharing. Put back my, right, there you are. Okay. And let's go and get rid of this. Okay, so we just go over some of the stories of the week. And NWC up in Barcelona finished yesterday. So we did see some phones from there. I posted some of the phones that came out of there last week. And I think I'll be posting about TCL later in the show. So you can follow me live on YouTube, on Facebook under Mobile Geezer, or on Facebook under George Hayes. I broadcast to all three simultaneously every week. So let's start with the stories. I'll bring up the first one, the one that's been upsetting people all this week. So I'm going to share screen. Oh, and by the way, with all the technical issues I had with Comcast last week, I don't know why, because that hadn't happened in months, but Mike suggested I looked into T-Mobile Home, and I did. Well, turns out they are not in my area yet, so that is not an option for me. So hopefully we won't have technical issues tonight, and we'll see how that goes. So I'm going to share screen, and here's our first story. It's on 9 to 5 Google. This story is all over the place. Update, Samsung responds. And the original story was Galaxy phones appear to be throttling 10,000 Android apps, like OnePlus did. And that's true. So let's go into reader view, get rid of some of these commercials. Okay. Our smartphones have become incredibly powerful over the past few years, to the point that in many cases, we're not actually taking full advantage of these devices' raw horsepower in day-to-day use. However, Samsung has apparently been throttling the performance of thousands of apps in the name of improving game performance. And it kind of doesn't make sense, but you'll see what I mean. Samsung phones ship with a game app optimizing service app pre-installed as a system app. We confirmed it's installed on the Galaxy S22 Plus, which is the phone that I'm getting, as pictured below. It cannot be disabled. The app's exact purpose isn't described very well anywhere, but its name certainly implies the app is used to improve performance for games. However, as one Twitter user points out, with the backing of a lengthy thread from frustrated Samsung Galaxy owners in Korea via Android Authority, Samsung seems to be using this app to optimize the performance of thousands of non-gaming apps. And that's what I meant by didn't make sense. When an app is in the game optimizing service list, its performance is limited, as demonstrated by a YouTuber who changed the package name of the 3D Mark benchmark app to trick Samsung software into throttling it. And the results are pretty telling. The list includes extremely popular apps such as Instagram, Netflix, TikTok, and even some Google apps. Samsung also included some of its own apps, including Pay, Secure Folder, and others. Why they would do that, no idea. Altogether, the list of apps affected by the game optimizing service app appears to number around 10,000, but excludes benchmarking apps such as 3D Mark, Geekbench, and others. Gee, I wonder why they would do that. So there's the app info for the game optimizing service. So here's their update from yesterday. In the Samsung Members app in Korea, Samsung has responded to this situation. A rough translation of the notice from Do-Young Kim on Twitter reads, "Hello, it's Samsung. We are constantly trying to expand the option for users and provide the most optimized performance converging customers' opinions. Game optimizing service, GOS, of the Samsung Galaxy S22 series is pre-installed for optimizing the performance of CPU and GPU to prevent excessive heating when playing a game for a long time." Then why do it with all those apps that aren't games? To meet the recent needs of various customers, it's planned to update the Game Booster Lab to provide an option to prioritize the performance as soon as possible. So we'll be able to choose it or not ourselves, I guess. Afterward, we will try our best for customer satisfaction and safety by listening to their opinions. Thank you. That's a good idea. While this rough translation doesn't offer a lot of context to why Samsung is doing this, the company hints that part of the reason is to prevent excessive heat during games. That would make sense. The response doesn't address why other Android apps are affected. That's what everybody's wondering. Max Weinbach has also since claimed on Twitter that performance mode disables most of these optimizations. That's good. The reason Samsung is doing this isn't officially laid out, but it's pretty easy to assume it comes down to optimizing battery life, limiting the performance of an app that doesn't actually need the full CPU or GPU power of the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 or other chips would lead to better endurance. OnePlus gave that excuse when it was caught doing the exact same thing last year. That's right, while promising to make the behavior optional in future updates. So a lot of people have been upset by it. And I was watching, what's his name, from Scary of Literal today. He does a Monday and Friday news thing every week. And today he was talking about that. And he said for the amount of difference that you're going to notice if you're doing anything other than a game, he didn't think anybody would even notice the difference. And that could be true, but people get very upset when you start throttling their apps. So it kind of makes sense. So hopefully Samsung will put that update out soon and everybody can calm down. So I made that the lead story because that seemed to be what everybody was talking about for like the past 3 days. So we'll move on. And of course, the big thing next Tuesday is going to be the Apple event. So I just thought I'd share a little something about that. So I'm going to share screen. And this is on Cnet. Apple event, everything we know about the March 8th peak performance launch. That's by Ian Shear, and this is from yesterday. So let's go into read a view. Okay. Okay. The world's most valuable tech company is about to hold a big product announcement event. Apple's first major event of the year doesn't grab attention the same way its September iPhone events do, but it's an opportunity for the company to highlight everything else it offers. Apple's expected to hold a major event in the summer to announce free software upgrades coming in the fall, alongside their rumored next iPhone. We finally have a date for Apple's next event. Yeah, they sent out the invitations, I think, 2 days ago or 3 days ago. Tuesday, March 8th at 10 a.m. Pacific time, so 1 o'clock if you're Eastern time like me. Rumors suggest that Apple could reveal a third iPhone SE at the presentation, along with a revamped iPad and at least one Mac. And there's already a story showing, yes, the iPhone SE3 will be there. And I think there's some renders of that out there already. So you'll look that up. You can go find them. The company will show off the devices in an all-virtual event via a live stream on Apple's website. The company said it will be broadcasting from Apple Park, its headquarters in Cupertino, California. The tech giant has hosted online events since the start of the pandemic 2 years ago. Apple is currently assessing when employees will return to the office as the Omicron variant wanes. Apple's invitation to the media, sent in an email, shows a rainbow Apple logo that gives the impression of movement across a black background. Let's show you that again. Let's see. Okay, so that's what that looks like. Let's see if we can. So it's live in 3 days, March 8th. Not seeing the movement. All right, back to read a view. Apple didn't say which products it plans to announce. It almost never does, but did include an augmented reality effect in its marketing page for the event that could hint at an aspect of the event. The event marks another milestone for Apple as it aims to stay on track with its product launch schedule, which typically includes events in the spring, summer, and fall. Yeah, and everybody's been calling it the spring event. Well, it's next Tuesday, March 8th. Spring is still 2 weeks away at that point, but that's just me being picky. In June 2020, as the pandemic took hold, Apple transformed its Worldwide Developers Conference into a virtual event with slickly edited videos replacing live presentations. So far, the formula appears to be working. Apple has continued to rake in record sales and profits. Yeah, their presentations have been great. The company has said that customers have especially responded to 5G wireless internet upgrades in its phones over the past 2 years. In his review of the iPhone 13 last year, Cnet's Patrick Holland said that Apple had delivered a delightful upgrade, praising the cameras and battery life in particular. Apple has also said that demand for new chips it designed to act as the microprocessing brains for its iPads and Mac computers has consistently outstripped supply, I'm sure, with more than 12 billion in estimated pent-up demand in the past year. Customer satisfaction is off the charts, Apple CEO Tim Cook said during a conference call with financial analysts in January. He said the technology is helping bring in new customers in addition to upgrades. Yeah, I think the Macs with the M1 chip have been selling like crazy. At the upcoming event, Apple is also expected to discuss its upcoming iOS 15.4 software, which we're expecting very soon, a free upgrade for its most recent iPhones and iPads. The company has already announced that it's building in new Face ID unlock features to work with medical masks, and everybody in the beta say it works great, as well as anti-stalking alerts related to its AirTag smart trackers, which we did a story on that last week and a couple of weeks ago. So that's what to expect, but like he said, they never tell you exactly what they're launching. So just wanted to put that in there because I know next week we'll be talking about what was launched. Okay. No, stop sharing. Okay. Next story. I should probably leave the share up so you guys can see the notes as I scroll through them, because you can go to my website from the description and share right with me. So I'm sharing again. Going to the next story. And this one is in Tom's Guide. The Nothing phone reportedly coming soon to fight Galaxy S22, OnePlus 10 Pro. Carl Pei allegedly has a Nothing phone in the works. Yeah, I gather he actually showed it to some people at the Mobile World Congress. I guess it really does exist. A lot of people are saying it's probably going to come out this month, I think is what I read. So let's go into reader view. Okay. The world of smartphones has progressively gotten smaller in recent years. Seems to me there's a lot of phones around, but that's just me. But one of the two men who co-founded OnePlus could be gearing up to put out a new phone of his own. Carl Pei, now of the ridiculously named Nothing. I guess he doesn't like the name. I kind of like the name. Is supposedly readying a new phone for the market. Now, be prepared for this article because this guy is pretty down on Nothing. It sounds to me like. TechCrunch, citing sources, says that a Nothing phone could be coming very soon by the end of next month. Okay, the end of April. In fact, the site claims that Nothing has been working on this handset for over a year. Pei has allegedly shown off a prototype to key executive. Yeah, I gather that was last week at Mobile World Congress. TechCrunch even acquired a photo of the man meeting with Qualcomm executive at MWC 2022. The Nothing phone, depending on the specs, could wind up being a direct challenger to the Samsung Galaxy S22 series on sale now and the OnePlus 10 Pro coming at the end of March. Yeah, and I'm thinking they mean the lower S22. I don't think they mean the Ultra. However, the only thing TechCrunch tips is the design, as the source notes that the product will share a similar design language and elements of transparency seen in Nothing's first product. Nothing has only one product right now, the Nothing Ear, truly wireless earbuds, which sport a transparent design. But last year, before the buds released, Pei teased that his new venture had a few products on the roadmap. And it turns out that one of those is a smartphone, if TechCrunch's source is to be believed. Carl Pei's history and pedigree in the smartphone industry, considering Pei's history and pedigree in the smartphone industry, this shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone. But given the fate of the last smartphone upstart, Essential, I don't have high hopes for the success of the Nothing phone. I don't see Carl Pei making the same mistakes Essential made, but that's just me. The Essential phone enjoyed a modicum of success as a cult hit, that's true. But that proved insufficient since that company caved in 2020. Breaking into a market crowded with Android giants like Samsung, Xiaomi, Oppo, and even OnePlus is a tall order in this day and age. The Nothing phone, whatever it ends up being called, will have to seriously wow critics and Android users alike. Nothing will also need more than a see-through look and a grassroots campaign to see success. Earbuds are one thing. A smartphone is a whole other beast altogether. I think he's underestimating the general good feeling that people have in general about call pay, including me. So I think I think this might do better than he thinks it will. I'm not entirely sure what to expect with this alleged device. I want to see some interesting things because I'm frankly worn out with the players we have now. So this guy's pretty jaded. I'm also a cynic, that's true, and I'll need to see the nothing phone succeed to believe it. At this stage, I highly doubt there's anything that pay can do to stand out. I really hope I can eat those words. So do I. Jordan is the phone's editor for Tom's Guide, covering all things for phone related. Okay. So this guy seems pretty jaded about the whole thing. Now let's go back to regular mode. Oh, no, we don't have a picture. But if we go back to this is kind of what they expect to look like. You can see through it here. And there's some other renders out there of what people think it'll look like. And you can see nothing right here. So, of course, it's kind of cool looking. It'll certainly get people talking about it once they see it. But I suspect it might get more than that guy thinks it will anyway. Hey, Brian's in here. Hey, Brian, glad to have you here, brother. Just going over the stories. That was our third story on the nothing phone. So, stop screen for a minute. So let's move on now. Now, of course, if none of the other guys come in, like last week, all the guys came in, which was great. My chain is doing something. Okay. But if none of the other guys come in, of course, this is going to be a very quick show, which is what we would expect. So the next story. This is interesting. MediaTek passes Qualcomm as top U.S. chip maker. I didn't see that coming, but I gather they did. So we're going to pop over to Android Authority. Qualcomm is no longer the top Android chip maker in the U.S. MediaTek reportedly took the #1 crown in the U.S. in Q4 2021. So let's go into reader mode, get rid of some of these commercials. Qualcomm has lost its Android chip maker crown to MediaTek in global markets back in 2020, but it still held on to its #1 spot in the U.S. for several quarters thereafter. Now it looks like there's a new #1 chip maker for Android devices in the U.S. MediaTek reported during its Dimensity 8000 series briefing that it was the #1 chip maker for Android devices in the U.S., citing IDC statistics for Q4 2021. More specifically, the Taiwanese chip designer said its chips accounted for 51% of the market compared to Qualcomm's 47%. You can see that in the chart here. The orange is MediaTek, blue is Qualcomm. You can see Q1 they were 29%, Q2 34%. They just kept moving up all last year. Q3 41%, and at the end of Q4, they took over as the leader. So MediaTek pointed to phones like the Samsung Galaxy A12 4G, Galaxy A52, Moto G Pure, T-Mobile Revel V Plus, and Boost Celero, don't even know that one, as being its top high-volume models that helped it reach its goal. And you can see Galaxy A12, A32, Moto G, Revel. So they've done it with nothing but budget phones. but their chips, I gather, keep getting better and better and better. The achievement isn't a complete surprise, as the chip maker has focused on the volume shifting budget and mid-range segment for years now. However, the achievement is still pretty notable due to the fact that MediaTek processors don't actually have mmWave 5G connectivity just yet, with major network players like Verizon firmly embracing the tech. So I guess they must be preparing something for Verizon. Nevertheless, media says, yes, it is. Its first mid-range mmWave phone will hit the U.S. in the second half of 2022. So there's scope for MediaTek to experience even more growth in the future. So do you think Qualcomm retake its spot? I don't know. MediaTek stays the way it is. I'd say they may stay there for a while. So I just thought that was pretty cool. Brian, thanks as always. You're very faithful, brother. Really, really appreciate it. So I just thought that was very interesting because I didn't see that coming. Okay. Share again. So back to the notes. Amazon is closing brick and mortar locations. And we're going to go to TechCrunch to check that out. Amazon, and a lot of stores too. Amazon to close 68 physical retail locations, including Amazon Books and 4-star stores. So pretty heavy do. I saw another article that said, looks like offline cannot compete with online when it comes to Amazon, which I thought was very telling. Let's go into read review. Okay, this story is by Sarah Perez. It's from 2 days ago. Amazon's physical retail business is suffering a major blow as the company today confirmed to Reuters that it will close 68 brick and mortar retail stores across the US and UK. This includes its Amazon Books bookstores, its pop-up shops in various markets, and its 4-star stores, where customers could shop popular and highly rated products across Amazon.com. The retailer, which began its life as an online bookseller, launched its first physical bookstore in Seattle back in 2015, then steadily expanded its brick and mortar footprint to include more locations across the U.S. and abroad, including in U.S. states like Arizona, California, Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, Oregon, Tennessee, and Texas. I didn't know we had any in Tennessee. And of course, its home state of Washington. I would assume that's in Nashville or on its way out, I guess. The stores didn't just provide a place for customers to interact with Amazon merchandise in real life, including its hardware devices. They also served as a convenient spot to pick up merchandise bought online or make returns. In later years, Amazon's retail footprint expanded to include Whole Foods with the 2017 $13.7 billion acquisition of the grocer, plus its own Amazon Fresh grocery stores. And Amazon has been testing its Just Walk Out experience, cashless shopping technology at a growing number of Amazon Go convenience stores, which weren't a part of this planned shutdown. Yeah, those are pretty cool. You just go and get what you want. When you walk out the door, it charges you. The company told Reuters that it will alert shoppers to the upcoming closures through in-store signage. So I guess the only advertising you're going to see in this is if you're in a store, as the actual closing dates may vary by location. It also said it was working to find new roles for employees impacted, that's good, when possible, or offer them severance. The decision to exit so much of its brick and mortar business follows a couple of years that have made in-person retail more challenging for everyone. Well, yeah, as the COVID pandemic sent more consumers online as foot traffic to local stores declined. But this decision also comes at a time when Amazon retail workers had begun to organize. Though in this case, an Amazon at an Amazon Fresh grocery. The union push saw the retail workers demanding better wages, more flexible attendance policies, longer breaks, and other benefits, Insider Today reported. Shutting down dozens of physical stores immediately after such demand seems to send a chilling message to all Amazon retail workers that the company doesn't value its physical retail business. Well, yeah, if they're losing money, I can see why. Amazon, however, said it will continue to work on its cashierless grocery stores and other new concepts, like the recently opened physical clothing store in LA called Amazon Style. Didn't know about that. Though a small part of its broader retail business, Amazon's brick and mortar stores made the company billions. In quarter 4 2021, the company reported its physical retail business generated $4.68 billion, up from $4.2 billion. Well, that's not bad. In the year ago quarter, it also touted other retail developments in the quarter, in addition to Amazon Style, including the opening of the first Starbucks pickup with Amazon Go store in New York. So I guess they must have a Starbucks inside the store, I guess, and plans for 2 more such stores in 2022. Interesting. So just thought people should be aware that I guess most of their physical locations are shutting down. But obviously they still have plans to open some other things. So I guess Bezos will do just fine. Okay. Let's go down. And this I thought was pretty interesting at MWC. Let me share screen again. So at Mobile World Congress, TCL debuted some phones and some affordable tablets. So we'll go to Android Authority. TCL now has the cheapest, now they start with the tablet, so we'll go through that first. TCL now has the cheapest 5G tablet you can get, and it has Android 12. TCL has a packed hardware lineup at MWC 2022 by Adamya Sharma. So let's go to review. Okay, cheap 5G Android tablets are few and far between. Ones that come with Android 12 out of the box are even rarer. Targeting this unique segment, display maker TCL has launched one of the most affordable 5G tablets at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. Called the Tcl Tab 10S 5G, the slate features a 10.1-inch IPS FHD display. Performance is handled by an octa-core MediaTek 5G chipset. There's MediaTek again. Chipset with 2 Cortex A78 cores clocked at 2.4 gigahertz and 6 Cortex A55 cores clocked at 2 gigahertz. 4 gigabytes of RAM, complements of the system on a chip. One of the best attributes of the tablet is its 8,000 milliamp battery. Even with a power-hungry 5G connection, the Tab 10S should be able to give you enough juice for at least a couple of days. Yeah, I would think so. What's disappointing is that the tablet comes with a low 64 gigabyte base storage. Though it's expandable up to 256 using a micro SD card, it's still pretty tiny for a tablet that's supposed to be a multimedia powerhouse. Elsewhere, you get an 8 megapixel rear camera and a 5 megapixel front sensor. And in case you missed it, if you go back and look at my channel this week, I actually took my new Microsoft Surface Pro 8 and did some camera tests, including video, just because I figure if it has cameras, you guys would want to see what it looks like. So if you haven't seen it, just go look on my channel and you'll see it. And I have to tell you, I felt pretty weird walking around the park with a tablet shooting video, but I thought it was something I should do. Okay. Connectivity options include Bluetooth 5.1 and a USB-C port. The TCL 10S 5G costs 349 euros, 393 US, and will go on sale mid-quarter 2 this year. That's a pretty great price for a 5G tablet. The only other 5G tab in this range is a Lenovo Tab P11 Plus, which costs 499 or 562, and features the Snapdragon 750G chipset. So more tablets. That's a tiny thing, isn't it? Apart from the headlining Tab S5G, TCL has also launched a 10.3-inch Next Paper Max 10, 10.1-inch Tab 10 FHD 4G, and Tab 10 HD 4G. All three are 4G Android 11 tablets targeted at budget buyers who want large screen multimedia consumption devices. The next, I guess you say it, Next Paper Max 10 is the best one from the lot, with an 8,000 milliamp battery, a 13 megapixel rear camera, and an 8 megapixel front camera setup, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and 64 gigabytes expandable storage. The Tab 10 FHD and Tab 10 HD both have the same specs, barring the display resolution and operating system, so they don't really have the same specs. The former offers a 1920 by 1200 screen, while the latter gets a 1280 by 800 display. The HD tablet also features the lighter Android 11 Go OS, while the FHD gets full-fledged Android 11. Yeah, I think that was a mistake. I think they should have went with 12. Batteries on the two MediaTek-powered tablets are also impressive at 5,500 milliamp each. The Next Paper Max 10 goes on sale starting in Asia from mid-quarter 2, 2022, and will be available for 269 euros or $303. The TCL Tab 10 HD 4G is now available in Europe, starting at 179 euros or 201 for us, with the additional FHD version on sale beginning in Asia from late March at 199 euros or $224. This was more what I was excited about. And I was watching Juan Bagnell today, and he has at least one or two of the TCL 30 phones. So keep an eye on his channel. That's Some Gadget Guy, if you want to see how these phones perform. And of course, he's the right guy to test everything. So TCL also took to the MWC 2022 show floor to announce 5 new smartphones in its number 30 series. The new phones include the TCL 35G, TCL 30 Plus, TCL 30, TCL 30 SE, and TCL 30E. That's a lot of phones. They joined the TCL 30 XE 5G, wow, and 30V 5G that the company previously launched in the US. All the newly launched TCL 30 series phones cater to various price points, that's obvious, in the low-end smartphone space. All of them have a large 50 megapixel sensor in common. They also feature a 2 megapixel macro camera and a 2 megapixel depth sensor, barring the TCL 30E, which skips the former, so that doesn't have the macro. Another factor the new TCL devices share is that they all come with Android 12 out of the box. That's good. And have large batteries that range between 5,000 milliamps and 5010 milliamps. The phones are also powered by MediaTek chipsets, the most noteworthy being the TCL 35G, and I believe that's one of the ones that Juan Bagnell has, which gets the octa-core Dimensity 700 SoC. The TCL 30 and 30 Plus make do with the MediaTek Helio G37. Yes, I've stayed away from, well, I haven't got a MediaTek phone yet, Well, I've stayed away from the Helio series in general. That's just me, though. While the 30E and 30SE get the Helio G25 silicon. Pricing and availability. 35G, 249 euros, 280 for Americans. 30 plus, 199 euros, 224 in America. 179 for the TCL 30, 201 for us. 30SC, 149 euros, 167 to the US, and the 30E, 139 euros or 156,000 US. So available in Europe, select region April. The second one's available now in Europe. So is the third one. So is the fourth one. And the last one available in Europe starting next month. All coming to select regions later. So I guess that means we'll see it come to the US, hopefully with bands for the US. TCL also announced the prices for the Verizon exclusive 30V 5G and T-Mobile exclusive 30XE 5G. These phones will cost $299 and $199 respectively. And somewhere I read, yeah, the T-Mobile is the lower end of those two. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see what the coverage is like on those, because they sound like kind of fascinating budget phones. So, yeah, Brian says there are too many TCL phones. Yeah, I guess they seem to be trying to cover everybody. You know, it seems like they're doing, Brian, like they're trying to do what Samsung does with the A series, because they cover everybody's budget. I guess TCL is trying to do the same thing. At least that's my impression. So, anyway, those tablets, be interesting to see what kind of coverage they get. Since I just bought a really expensive one, I won't be getting one. So I just thought that was an interesting. Oh, by the way, I didn't put a story up on it, but I'm kind of fascinated with the Realme, and I've never had a Realme phone, but the Realme, what's the name of it? AC2 5G. Let me look up that name. I want to go to AliExpress. Yeah, the Realme GT2 Pro 5G. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that, but I'm kind of fascinated by it. And it's the highest end phone that Realme has made, because they've made nothing but budget phones up until now. It's the Realme GT2 Pro. And let's see if I can give you an idea of what it looks like. See if I can share this screen at all. Where am I? I lost myself. There I go. Okay. Let's see if I can share that screen. No, I can't see it here. Okay, let's bring it over. I think bring that over here. And now I think I can share it. Anyway, oh wait, I'm getting the flashing. Let's stop. It's not over. Okay. Try once more. Okay. Okay, so it's here. Yeah. So that's what it looks like. It has this something like paperback, and it's got a design from a Japanese designer, and it just kind of fascinates me. Seems to have pretty good cameras, and of course this is their high end, and of course it comes in all these different variations. Let's say I don't want the 12 gigabyte for 512. I would get the 8 gigabyte with the 256. So in any case, just in case you hadn't heard of the Realme GT2 Pro 5G, it seems like a pretty good phone, and certainly the highest end phone that they've ever made. So I'm just kind of fascinated by it, and I may end up getting it. We'll see. So I just wanted to mention it to you guys. Okay. So let's go on to our next story. And since none of the other guys come in, this is going to be our last story. But this kind of surprised me. I guess I shouldn't have been surprised because Instagram's IGTV, I haven't heard anything about in a long time. But this is once again on 9 to 5 Mac. Instagram unplugs IGTV after taking 4 years to realize no one wants a separate app. By Felipe Esposito. So let's go to read review. Instagram on Monday announced that it is officially discontinuing its mobile app dedicated to the IGTV video platform, which was rebranded to Instagram Video last year. Because I remember when it came out, everybody jumped on it, including me, and then it just kind of died off. As a result of the shutdown, the IGTV app will soon be removed from the App Store and Google Play. The announcement was made on the Instagram blog for creators via TechCrunch. According to the company, the decision comes as Instagram moves to simplify the video experience for its users and push short videos known as Reels. Yeah, well, we all know TikTok pushed them all into it, and Reels seems to be doing pretty good. So, oh, Ted is here. Oh, happy birthday, Crystal. Glad you stopped in, sir. I'm on my last story, but I'm glad you stopped in anyway. And everybody, and let's see, Brian saying happy birthday, Crystal. Yeah, well, we have to wish her a happy birthday. She puts up with you, Ted. She's even marrying you. So anyway, I hope she has a wonderful birthday. I'm sure you'll see to it that she will. Okay, so IGTV shutting down. IGTV was announced in 2018 as a mobile video-focused platform that only let users share vertical videos. In an attempt to compete with YouTube and other platforms, IGTV got its own separate app from Instagram, but never became very popular despite Instagram's efforts. The Meta-owned company then introduced new ways to share video directly on Instagram, which include Reels to compete directly with TikTok, and support for long-form vertical or horizontal videos. The IGTV brand has been replaced by Instagram Video, which combines Reels and feeds videos in a new tab with the main Instagram app. So no need for two apps. Oh, and Crystal said, thanks, everybody. Cool. According to Instagram, the IGTV app will be complete shutdown removed from the app stores in mid-March, so we're close. The social network also notes that in-stream video ads will also no longer be supported. So creators who want to monetize their content will have to explore the Reels platform. And that would make sense. Instagram says it will continue to improve the social network for video creators, and it emphasized the company now pays users to create and post original Reels. Well, that's good. So anyway, just wanted to make everybody aware, no more IGTV very soon for anybody who was interested. So going on to what we always end up with, going to glowing rectangles. And I'm going to share screen. Okay. So, and let me get rid of my stuff that's in the way here. So, anybody who's looking for exposure, wants a expose their own videos and also your blogs. This is a good place to get some more exposure. You can put it on reddit.com/r/glowing rectangles. This is something that some gadget guy, Juan Bagnell, started. And again, he just wanted people to have another way to get some exposure and to have people see your work. So this new post on here every day. And if you go down and click top, you get upvotes. You can also downvote, of course. But when you hit top, the thing that's gotten the most upvotes for that day will come to the top. So today, this was posted by Juan. S22 Plus, no, 24 hours with the better IQ 009 Pro. He's been talking about that, and I haven't seen it. I got to take a look at it. So it's a review, I guess, by Barry Johnson. So you can go check that out. So that got 6 upvotes. Second one is usually, oh yeah, it's always a promotion. And the second most upvotes got 4, Windows versus Linux. Oh, sure. Now you come in when I'm ending the show.
Oh yeah, you know, I had to come in here and just stop you right there, because everything that you said, you're gonna have to do some explaining and defend all your points that you made. And I felt that someone has to come in and disagree with this guy for once and for all.
So I just have to go back and do everything all over again, right?
No, just accept that your position was inferior and therefore wrong.
Inferior. Okay. Spoken by the young guy to the old guy.
I just got in. I was like, oh, I think I can make it. So ran right up here, ripped the computer and the iPad off the charger. And
now, of course, when you said stop right there, I immediately thought of Meatloaf when she says stop right there. Okay.
I don't know that one. I know the other one. You know what?
You don't know. Let me sleep on it, baby, baby. Let me sleep on it.
I know that Do Anything for Love. I know that one.
Exactly. Anyway, you got to be old to know this stuff. This is what we teach you young folks. You know.
Any story in particular what was your favorite one out of what you wanted to?
Today, well, I started with the Samsung throttling because everybody is so aggravated, but I don't think that was a big deal.
Well, I mean, haven't a lot of companies, not just manufacturers, but even like, you know, Sprint and T-Mobile do it, and Verizon still does it, I think.
And that's true. And Apple did it at one point. Yeah, they've all done it. But people get particularly pissed off when manufacturers do it, especially when they sneak behind your back and do it, because that's what OnePlus did, that's what Samsung did, that's what Apple did, all until they got caught. You know.
Yeah, I'm sure it was in some fine print somewhere. I mean, I know, like, okay, maybe I haven't read any of the manufacturer ones, but I know in data plans, because that's something that I do look at, because I'm like, you know, what do I want my plan to include? It'll say, hey, by the way, after X amount of gigs, we'll reduce the speed, or
I don't think hours. They include. I don't think that was found anywhere, and I don't think Apple did either. But they just got caught. But in any case, people get very upset about it. I don't think it's a big deal unless you're a gamer, and of course they're doing this for gamers. Now the other stuff, 10,000 apps you're throttling, and they're not even games for the most part. That doesn't make any sense, and everybody's wondering why they would do that. So in any case, they're supposed to put some kind of update to allow you to, I guess, turn it on and off the way you want to. But
a toggle switch, yeah. I mean, I wanted that. I wanted that in all of our devices for every feature that it's possible. Because then you have people that are like, why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? It's like, I agree. If the device is capable of doing it, then let me.
Now, of course, the more toggle. But you know, the more toggle switches you include, the more programming you have to include, the more programmers you have to pay. Everything costs.
It's okay, because I hear they don't make that much, so it should be cheap.
No, I did all right with mine, but of course I programmed mainframes. Not
that was a different time. There were less of you back then. Now everyone and their mom and kid can program.
Well, that's true. That's true.
Which again is no excuse. Why don't we have more feature-packed devices in,
I agree.
the 2020s? What's going on?
Yeah, I agree. But for me, now I could have said the Apple story, but I knew that was going to be a big deal. It'd be a bigger deal next week. For me, the thing that fascinated me the most was the nothing phone, because I'm kind of fascinated by the whole idea of the nothing phone. And here, let me share that top story again, at least. I like the idea of the phone that you can see into. And, I'm like a lot of people. When Carl Pei left OnePlus, I kind of like him. And I tend to lean towards whatever Carl Pei is doing. So I wouldn't be surprised if I picked up that phone, unless it's really terrible.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. Actually, I think it would work. It works for us techies because we're already fascinated with that stuff. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
it is already fascinating in nature. And the same way I remember when I was first learning construction, we don't really pay much attention to, the sidewalks that we walk on every day, to doors that we walk through, to walls that we're constantly surrounded by. And then tagging along with my father to go and kind of see how stuff happens, to see a wall get put together and all these pieces and how much goes into it. I never would have even figured. And
exactly.
It's interesting to see how something's made, to see the inner workings of something. We know, if you remember the Game Boys, they did a couple clear versions of those. They did.
That's right. I remember that. Yes.
The colorful Macs also had that. You were able to see inside, like what else is in here? Why is it this big? And
it is kind of fascinating. And I think because of that type of knowledge, like a lot of people listen to Android Central just because of Jerry Hildebrand, because he has that kind of knowledge and he explains it to us. And that's what makes him interesting. And I've met him once, and he's a very nice person too. So, but I think that's why people listen to the Android Central podcast, because of him.
I think also, what's another wallpapers? I know that some people that they get their hands on these devices, specifically iPhone. Well, of course, for me, iPhone, that they'll do their teardowns and they'll take like a true to size photograph of the inside of the phone, and you can save that as a high definition wallpaper. And have your iPhone, when you unlock it, it shows the battery. You can see the circuitry and everything else.
I haven't seen that.
Camera module, the face ID sensors, and all that. It's real neat.
Cool.
Throws people off.
Oh, by the way, I'm losing another phone. Last Don, who tunes in sometimes, he's down in Oklahoma, who used to be outside of Dallas. He bought the GS8 from me last year, and he loves it. He still loves it. Well, now he's buying the Galaxy A52 from me. I'm sending it out to him tomorrow. So,
oh, nice.
Yeah. So he seems to like the somewhat mid-range to budget phones that I have. And when I mentioned it to him, he said, "You want to sell it?" And I said, "Sure." And of course, I give him a good price. And so that's the second phone that he's buying from me.
Oh, nice, man. You're raking it in.
That's kind of cool. Raking it in. Yeah, I'm waiting for the S21 Plus to be released. And now I'm thinking about that Realme GT2 Pro that they showed off at Mobile World Congress. I may get that phone.
Do you have to pay extra for that because of imports, or is that already?
I have to import it through AliExpress. But no, I don't have to really pay extra. I think with everything, it might end up costing. I think for the one I want, which would be 8 gigabytes, 256. I think I'd end up paying about $720. So by the time everything is done, it'll be $780, something like that. Which for me, that's Realme's highest ever phone that they've ever made, and it has the Snapdragon 8.1. So I'm just kind of fascinated by the phone, so I may get it. And of course, it'll take 3 or 4 weeks to get here.
Remind me what iPhone you were working with last.
Oh, I still have the 12 Pro.
Oh, before that, what was the one you had before that?
Oh, before that, it was the 11. I traded the 11 for the 12 Pro.
Have you looking forward to potentially?
I traded the 10e for the 11 before that.
No, I'm saying the new budget iPhone.
The SE.
Yeah,
I thought about it, but I'm like, would I trade the
'cause
12
that's gonna have
Pro
the
for?
newest chip, right? That's
Yeah, it's
that's
going to
that's
have
the
the new
allure that they.
Yeah, but I don't think I want to trade in my 12 Pro for the SE. You know,
Oh no, I wouldn't do that. I would,
so I'll probably wait
Well,
until the new one comes out in September and trade in the 12 Pro for that one.
I was
For
thinking
the
more because
14.
you're like your channel is like an actual tech review channel. I'm just kind of here for comic relief and opposing
And you
sides,
do
opposing views.
you
Yeah,
do a
I mean,
great well, yeah, but you come up with some very interesting topics and interesting ideas about tech. So that's what makes you so valuable, besides that nutty sense of humor of yours.
I appreciate it. And I mean, it's all a ruse, really. I mean, it works as an icebreaker. It works to kind of, I mean, especially in our when we're fanatics, and sometimes that's not always a good thing that people can
Right.
get defensive or even offensive with their device that they like or platform for whatever reason. It's real easy to set someone off in something like this.
Well, this is what
Tech and tech preferences. So
this is
that
what
works.
Jay Will has said for years. Don't take it so freaking personal. It's a device. That's all it is.
It's for fun. It's supposed to
Yeah,
be for fun,
exactly.
for just cause. Yeah, everyone nowadays should have and needs a cell phone, but
Right. But they get all defensive about it. And
yeah,
it's like nobody's attacking your character, but they act like they are. The first article I ever wrote, and this was 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago. I used to write for Bain Tech. Joshua Bain Tech. The first article I ever wrote was about, can we stop this stupid fighting about Android and iOS? Let people like what they like.
Yeah, man. And some people do forget that we're a huge minority that it's and sometimes like one of the reasons like when you play devil's advocate, a benefit of that is that you're able to take the side of the majority of where these people they not care less. Like they're gonna buy the shiniest or a certain color.
I'm not much
or
for arguing with people, so
that looks different, even if it's not.
Yeah, I don't do devil's advocate much, but I know some people enjoy that. So
yeah, it's a good time. I mean, for opposing, I guess for just another point of view, so that someone else. I mean, even in the short time that I've been, jumping in and out of everybody's, channels and live streams, I've had a greater appreciation, a broadening, so to speak, of how I view, Androids and the other side of the walled garden, so to speak.
Good.
So
which means you have a nice open mind, like we're all supposed to have or should have.
Yeah, but I'm still biased because I know what I am and I'm aware of what I am, and I'm one of those capitalistic consumers, like a textbook ideal consumer. Just go.
Yeah,
So you're a worker bee. You go work, and then spend. So
yeah. So you're saying I am what I am, and that's all that I am. I got it. Okay.
And that's the market. That's how the market. What really moves and shapes the market is that. And they're playing to these companies are playing to it, because also with that, there's a gradual increase, rise in that people demand quality, that people demand quality materials. People want more value and ease of use, and like just less fuss, because of how little they care about it, how little time and energy and effort that they want to spend on it, and that they don't want to spend.
Competition benefits. That's all.
Yeah, and they don't want to buy one every year to 6 months like some of us do.
No, they're not nutty like we are.
Yeah, so we all benefit from something like that.
Yeah, I agree. Anyway, it's you have a good, refreshing attitude. You have your own way of viewing things, but you have a nice, open mind. That's the biggest thing I appreciate.
Yeah, we try to.
And every once in a while, you come up with a good hairstyle. Not often.
It's an abundant. I'm in the middle of trying to detangle it, man. It gets pretty bad. But yeah, one of that things too, to where like not taking not just tech seriously, but life, man. Life can get pretty hard sometimes, and it's just like relax, let's snap out of it. Let's try to find something to laugh about. Find a reason.
My life is always so blessed, no matter how much, no matter what kind of bad thing might happen to me. I always look at how many blessings do I have, and it's like they always way outweigh anything else.
Yeah, so. and part of that is to share it, right? To try to put some of that out to some places where there might not be as many blessings,
Well,
even if it's something like this, just a little. What is this? 1 hour of, 1 hour a
but
week
see,
of
my attitude as a
shenanigans.
Christian is I try to be as, I have this reputation. I tend to, people think I put myself down because I don't have a high opinion of me, but I try to be as uplifting to other people as I can because I think that's what I should do.
Yeah, even if you do feel down, that's admirable that you make those attempts to try to cheer someone up, anyone up.
Well, people say, well, you put yourself down too much. Yeah, but I'm also more blessed than almost anybody I know every single day. So don't worry about that.
It's like the humble show off over here.
No, it's just I realize how much I'm blessed. I'm 77 years old. I'm healthier than I've been most of my entire life.
That's good.
But I'm not blessed,
Yeah.
Yeah, I work my tail off to stay that way, but
it's hard, man.
I don't have to have the ability to do this, but God gives me the ability to do it, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, I finally, after not using my tonal home gym, all that new fancy electromagnetic weight machine for like the last 3 out of the 4 months, I think I've worked out every day for I think just about 3 weeks now. So I feel pretty good now that I finally got out of that slump. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. Just press the button and stand there and follow along.
And that's what happens to you.
25 minutes.
You stop and then you fall off, and then it's hard to get back again.
Yeah, man.
What I always tell people, keep it up for 3 months. In 3 months,
you're gonna notice
if you keep it up, you've kind of become an exercise person. Then it gets here he goes. Here he goes.
Yeah. I mean, just to feel overall, to be better and feel better, and then those two feed each other. What you're doing is you're taking that self-fulfilling, negative prophecy into a positive one. That cycling to where now you're on the up and up, to where this good thing influences and improves this good thing, and you're going back to and you flip that on its head rather than just going down, 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 down. Now you're going up, 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 up. And speaking of up, the Apple event. Did you see the invites? What do you think? Are you excited? Are you ready?
Well, I'm ready. It'll be Tuesday, so I'll be here at 1:00 to watch it. 1:00 our time. I'm just looking at. I hadn't been looking at the
10 a.m. Pacific, right? Yeah.
Glad to have you here, Shark Fin.
Yeah, I don't mean to keep you if you want. I know it's over.
No, I'm good. I always enjoy talking to you.
Okay. So computers. So do you think? I'll ask you this. Do you think we all know we're gonna get like a new entry level, base model SE and
so we're not going to get the new mini
iPad Air. That's that no one seems to know confidently to guess. I mean, to make the prediction.
A few weeks ago, a lot of people seem to be assuming the mini was coming. Now
at least one. I think that's the one. Yeah,
kind of saying it's not going to happen. So,
okay, so you know how with the way the lineup is now,
yo brother.
You know how people, hey Luis, you know how people have that all-in-one. Like right now, the options are like a portable laptop, a Mac Mini that if you already have all the peripherals, cool. Right. Or if you don't,
this is why I got my Microsoft Surface 8, because now I have a big tablet that I can make into a computer anytime I want, but I can take it with me too. So
yeah, and I think that how at least when Apple started the transition, they went they're seeming to go from bottom to top. Now that they've done some bottom and then some top, and because not all of the products are for everyone, I think that it's okay that they can alternate, that they could give something to the people who don't really care, just want something, just to want what will work, and then the people who demand a little more, you can switch back and forth, or even provide something to both of them at the same time, because that one consumer knows what they're gonna want or at least need, and if we're concerned that like naming M1 Pro but M2, which why is this higher or lower?
Yeah, and I find that price tag everybody says the 2 is going to be not as powerful as the 1 Pro. I don't get that.
The Pro or Max versions are for heavier workloads.
Okay.
So the base model M1, and I say that lightly because it's the weakest chip that Apple will ever create moving forward. Yeah. But it's for efficiency. The power boost, the power gains are a byproduct.
of that
Right.
efficiency that they want to target.
Right.
The longest, get the most use of whatever it is, light stuff, maybe even medium stuff. Basically anything that 80-90% of the people will ask of their devices can handle no
Right.
problem, right?
Right.
And keep cooler and all that good stuff. Because of that, they're able to actually, well, let's see what happens when we crank it up. So Pro and Max chip for people who are the prosumers part of that. So
and ever since the M chips came out, you hear nothing but good things about them generally. So
yeah, very much so. And so back to which Macs we were going to accept. There are people that want the all-in-one, and how they were saying, well, if they come out with the Mac Mini and like say an external display, then that's going to cannibalize it because individually it's cheaper, right? Than getting the all-in-one iMac. I think
except that you have to get the peripherals yourself,
Yeah, I think that
that's why I'd rather get a MacBook Air if I were going to get something.
Right. And I think that, I mean, it's not too, Apple can go about it either way. They can release the Mac Mini now because people are hungry for the chip for that package, right? They want the next chip. I want what's the best of the best, but I want to save some cash while I'm at it too.
I want the best of the best for my price.
Yeah. So for the suckers of us, especially a big portion of the tech community, because it's what we like, it's our passion, it's our hobby, we vote for our dollars.
That's true.
We're doing it for work and for fun, right? So we're going to be the ones that buy as many devices as we can. They'll get those people who will like say you want the iMac, but they're going to push it out because they'll know that they'll sell as many of these, and then when they release it, that some of them might buy both to have both because we can't help ourselves because it's going to be a new design and they're shiny, and our instinct to consume will kick in.
I always wanted an I just can't afford an iMac. It's too much money.
But they've overall have kept them at around the same prices, even some as when you adjust for inflation, I think even less so, right?
So what's an iMac go for right now?
The M1 24-inch, I think, is it a 1100, 1200?
Is it that cheap? I thought it was more.
But I'm pretty sure. Let me go to Apple right now.
Okay.
Let's see, Mac, and then 24. Yep, iMac. 24. Buy. Okay.
How much?
$12.99. So I think they bumped it up $100 from what the Intel ones were, which is way worth it. I mean, you're familiar.
I can't say anything. I just spent hundreds more than that on my tablet. So
why would you do that?
Because I wanted the all-in-one, and I wanted the best that I could get for Microsoft. So that's what I got.
Oh,
so
well,
the total package cost me $1,700, just over.
Damn. And who says that Apple overcharges or they're expensive?
That's why I said I can't say anything about $1,200.
Yeah, I mean,
I kept thinking about one of those Sony phones, but
even still,
you're talking $1,200 to $1,500. I don't think so.
How many gigs did you get? Because this one comes with 8 starting 8 gigabytes of RAM and then 256 for storage. With
I got 16 with mine, but that's
okay.
Cost me extra money.
I think they're roughly equivalent to double on Intel, for example. So 8 on here would be about 16. I know it's not linear, you don't exactly.
I understand,
but it's pretty close. And then you get the bad part of this, I think, is because you only get two of the 4 ports are Thunderbolt and the other 2 are standard. But that screen, man, I bet the ones that came on the MacBook are already awesome. They're gorgeous displays. I imagine that the 4.5 on a even bigger, size is even
probably
better.
Looks that much more beautiful.
And you think of it like this thing, because they wanted to show off Apple engineering and how they can design something so small and light and compact and powerful. Is how neat is it that now maybe even if you've never wanted to in the past, you can now very easily turn it off, unplug it, and take it to another room. Or move it to the kitchen, to the upstairs, or to the den, or wherever the heck. One cable fires right up, boom.
Yeah.
Like, who would have thought to do that? Just that you could if you want to. I think it's a little.
And that's the nice thing about having my Surface Pro 8. Now, when I go into the kitchen, I just take it off the keyboard and take it with me. Keep watching what I'm watching.
Yeah, I mean, one of the I hardly do this. I know, like, obviously, I do appreciate that I have the option to do that, but
Yeah, and I rarely do that too with my iPad
yeah,
Pro.
but because the software on an iPad specifically is limited, I'm like,
Right.
okay, I want to squeeze that much more out of it, and by getting this keyboard combo case, now it's a tiltable stand,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it would be the closest to a touchscreen laptop from Apple.
Okay, so I thought you'd have the Magic Keyboard.
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay, so it is okay.
Yeah, this is the
Okay. Yeah, and that's what I got because it's by
It's
far
awesome.
the best one to have, and I think
It's it's the only way to really squeeze the most out of what is iPad. You know what I mean? Because it's so limited in software on purpose, because Apple
Right.
is stubborn. This would be the one way you're able to just to get those last final drops of that experience to be able to do, 70, 80% or more of what one would normally do on a laptop while having that touchscreen and again the ability to just take it off the stand, which I don't really need to. Like I'm less inclined to do that because it's fun for me to be able to just grab this thing and scroll and then go back and forth to the trackpad or the typing.
Pretty much the only time I take my iPad Pro off the stand is if I'm on I have two stationary bikes here, one recumbent and one upright. If I'm on one of those, sometimes I'll put it in the case and I'll watch when I'm riding the bikes. Other than that, that's pretty much the only time I take it off.
Yeah, something about.
So now I have two different tablets I can take off and take in another room.
Yeah, and I find myself smudging my screen on my laptop because I'm so used to it doesn't happen often, but for that one time where I
but you used
have
to
the
touch
urge
screen.
to want to read, and this catches 100% of those instances. It works
Exactly.
and I can't wait until they do that. Even if they say, "Oh, it'll cannibalize," I was like, "Well, I mean, will it really though?" Because usually people aren't going to buy both, either or device, and I think because they're artificially keeping the operating system separate, that ultimately will decide what someone's going to get. I mean, just those people that are against, like, well, if I don't want a touchscreen on my computer, it's like, it's okay, you don't have to like, if you had it, you still have the choice to not use it. That's totally fine.
Yeah, like my both my iPad, my Surface Pro 8's touchscreen, and I like having a touchscreen, but I tend to use a mouse. I even use a mouse with my iPad Pro. Because I use the mouse, I almost never touch the screen.
Yeah.
So,
But that was my
and I don't take the pen and use it very often, but I do sometimes.
The pen, you said?
Yes.
What, like a stylus?
Yeah, there's a stylus with.
I lost mine. It would have been right here, but I never used it.
No, my Apple Pencil sits right on top of my iPad Pro because of the magnetism, and the Surface Pro has the magnet built right into the stand, so when you put it anywhere near, wham, it goes right in there. And if I have it turned the wrong direction, it'll flip it over.
Oh wow. This one, I think you can put either direction, but the magnets aren't that strong, and because it's like exposed, it falls off all the time, which used to bother me. Now, not so much. I mean, I got it because I
find the magnets on the iPad Pro strong enough. Every once in a while I'll knock it off. Yeah, for the pencil. Okay. But the for the Surface Pro 8, there's no way in the world you could knock that thing out of it. That thing is strong.
Did you notice
when you put the tablet back on the keyboard, as soon as you get about an inch away, wham, it pulls you right to it.
Did you notice the one of the two things that bugged me? I don't know if they would bug you, or I guess it's the one thing, but 3 instances that you can't use the Apple Pencil for. You can't swipe up to view your apps or go home. You can't swipe down for notifications, and you can't swipe down the control panel.
I was surprised when I first realized you cannot swipe down for notifications.
I'm like, what? Then what? Why am I using this thing? This thing is now a hindrance.
Why would you allow that?
Yeah,
it's a hindrance now. I can do that with my Surface. So,
and I never really handwrite anything or take notes. I'm a faster typer, and typing you can read my typing better than my handwriting.
Yeah, me too. But I don't really write once in a great while, but not that often.
Yeah, I don't get that. That's
like you. I took programmer for 34 years. Of course, I type better than I write.
Of course. the second that we were offered typing classes and that we had computer labs in elementary school, I'm like, okay,
Right.
forget this. This is where it's at. I can see that this is going to be the future here. So let me see how well I can do this.
It shows you how old I am.
So I still
now
have
this-
like third grader handwriting.
Okay, so this is
Second
back
grader
in back in grammar school. So this would have been back in the 50s
Oh damn!
and the early 60s. If you mentioned to any of us guys to take typing, "Oh, that's for girls. Why would you do that?" Because there was no such thing as a computer. You know,
It's the future, man. I'm telling you.
yeah, but
Just gotta
who
get
knew
in
that
on
back in the 50s? And keep in mind, computers didn't come to homes until the 80s. So this was still 20 to 30 years away when I was a kid. So nobody knew.
And I mean, you figure a company like one of my favorites, probably the favorite, Apple was one of the first to mainstream.
Oh yeah, Apple was the first to mainstream
pioneer the
computers.
concept even of a personal computer, a computer for your very own, for your household, for your family, you know, like that.
Exactly.
No
Yeah,
one
they
would have
were the
even
ones
ever
who-
thought that.
And I'm looking at the Mark. Don't drop that iPad Pro, or we'll have to see you weep. That is true.
I told him it's
Yeah.
MagSafe, so it's fine.
Yeah, MagSafe. Yeah.
Yeah.
With the tech, he's been using his Apple. Apparently, good for you.
I mean, it's novelty, and unless, like I said, unless you draw or
Yeah, if you draw,
I
now
don't
maybe he
know.
draws. You
I
know.
find it still limiting. I find, aside from that, what else would you
But
recommend?
don't you
Nothing
don't you
to
think
look cool?
people with really nice handwriting would have would lean more towards writing?
But when would
I
you
think so.
when would you actually write? I mean, would you prefer to write an article out by hand instead of typing it?
No, not an article, but a quick note. A lot of people would just write. See,
And would you
he
keep
said
the note?
he said graphics design, so he does have the art leaning. And
Okay.
that's the kind of
Well,
people
then,
who
see,
would use
then
the
that
pencil.
he's one of the minority that it would benefit from. Because
Exactly.
my other question was, for that person taking notes or writing anything by hand, are you
Right.
are you keeping it as you wrote it, or is it getting transcribed and turning into text anyway? Because I think
Yeah,
that's
and it depends
an
on what you
additional
want.
step.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking people who have nice writing may just keep the weighted way. Chalkman is saying,
yeah, I
I
would.
know a lot of people like the pencil, but I think Apple should add more features, functionality to it. It's weird that you can't use it to navigate.
It
I
is
agree.
weird. That's frustrating.
And he's saying not drawing graphics design. Yeah, but I can see, to me, that's an artsy type person because I am very much not, I'm a singer. I'll never be a
Yeah, I mean, I would want to use it as like a pen replacement, because you see how like people in other
Exactly.
I mean, not to give them any credit, but like news people where they'll have their stack of papers laptop and they'll have, while they're talking, they're holding the pen, so they can take notes and scribble. In doing that, I would be more inclined if I were to be able to check my brightness, notification, battery, swipe to a different app, go to my home, then I would incorporate it, because then it would fit in, fluidly.
I agree 100%.
Rather than being, I'm like, is it not registering? Did it die? What's going on? Why is nothing happening?
Yeah.
Because technology is supposed to fit seamlessly into our lives, not.
In this case, it might eventually draw you in. It just occurred to me. Now, I didn't get the Ultra because I never ever use an S Pen. I've had 3 or 4 phones and I never use it. But it just occurred to me, now that I have 2 different tablets, the iPad Pro and the Microsoft Pro 8, both with pens, who knows? Maybe I'll get into the habit of using the pencil or the pen. And by the time next year's comes out, maybe I'll get the Ultras, because I'll get used to using a pen.
Right.
Who knows?
Can the S Pen, can you do everything that, hand or fingertip gestures could do?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I can do all
then that would be my question to
scrolling
compare.
and stuff. Yes, that's
because then that's already better than the Apple Pencil.
Exactly. Now, one thing I do use the pencil for and the pen for, if I'm watching, like, I tend to watch 2 ESPN talk shows every day, which I haven't watched yet today. And when they get to commercials, I notice it's a lot easier for me to scroll with one of the pencils or pens to the end of the commercial than it is with my finger. So I use it for that a lot.
More precise control. Okay, precise scrubbing.
Exactly.
So that's a use case. I like that. Yeah,
exactly.
because our
and
fingers
I do that all the time.
better than ever these days.
Exactly.
Because we're all obese, except for you. Probably.
I was going to say, I'm not obese. If there's one thing I'm not, it's definitely not obese. Yeah.
Would you rather be too skinny or too fat? If you had to be on the the
I'd
extremes
rather
then.
be too skinny because I spent most of my life as too fat.
Okay.
I blew up. I turned into the round kid, not super
Oh, man.
fat, not super
Pudgy kid?
obese. But I was 6 years old. I stayed that same body type until my late 30s or my
Damn.
40s. And then when I started my late 30s, I started exercising, and then I just kept
Yeah,
getting in better and
I am
better,
now,
better
being 30
shape.
now.
Right.
Yeah.
So I know what it's like to be fat and not to be fat. I take very much not to be fat. Even though when I was fat, I could outrun almost everybody in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that has very little to do with your lungs in that case. If you were
Exactly.
already athletic, somewhat, or
exactly.
had those strong organs that just carried
I
around
was a tennis
additional,
player for years and years. Like my
just
ex.
carrying around some stored energy, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Let me see what.
Anyway,
I think that's it.
I'm so glad you came in. You once again, you did what I said. You made it much more interesting. You bring up topics that are interesting to talk about.
I got over here as fast as I could. There was an errand right at around the 4:30 mark, and then I was like, dang it! And
you got sharp and detective for your deeds into the conversation too.
Yeah,
which
right.
Is great.
They showed up. They showed up. Appreciate them.
So
let me
I'm
know.
glad you guys came in. I'm glad you guys took part in the conversation. Always glad for Mark. Even though whenever you come in, the first thing you do is pick on the old guy, but that's okay. It's okay.
If there was someone else here, George, who knows? Maybe I would still pick on you.
I was going to say you'd share it. You'd be generous with it.
I would recruit them.
Okay, and then you could both pick on me at the same time. Okay.
Really, I'm trying to bait anyone watching to come to your defense. Anyone that might be lurking. Hey, leave George alone.
I can just see you hammering them too.
Yeah.
Anyway, I gotta go.
No problem.
So I'm so happy you came in as always, and I hope
glad I made it.
Oh, I meant to ask you anything. You put something on Twitter, was it the other day, about job stuff? Anything new?
Yes, I had an interview today, and I think 3 hours later, they're letting me. They chose me to move on to the next step, so that's pretty fast.
Very good.
So I'll keep you guys posted when
something
more definitive, comes.
Okay, I've got something to pray for over the weekend.
We're not there yet, but
okay. Hey,
exciting stuff.
I'll add my prayers to the good wishes.
Appreciate it, George. Thank you.
All right, sir. So you have a wonderful weekend, and everybody have a blessed weekend. Thanks to everybody who came in, and I'll be here next week, and hopefully, if we're lucky, Mark will too. At the end or the beginning, we'll take him whenever he comes in.
Yep.
All right, sir. See you.
All right. See you guys.
Ending broadcast.
Oh, yeah.